Where shall we start? Well, I'll talk about factories again. There are a lot of factories that are making sure that all the manufacturing has circular energy loops. I know Vinyl Factory in the UK, they actually carbon balance all their manufacturing before you actually even make it, so they've taken it on themselves, and they've improved a lot of their recycling practices as well. There's a company called Green Vinyl, who are promoting a more sustainable vinyl LP product by using injection molding techniques. They have no steam boilers and a lot less waste. People are lathe cutting now for small quantities, so it means you don't have to go through all the metalwork processes. So no nickel used and none of those quite dirty processes. A lot of the new machines that are being made are much more energy efficient and cleaner. Again, don't work on the steam boilers, so better energy consumption. And obviously, sort of using renewable energy sources is really important to push all the factories to do. There's something called HD vinyl. I haven't seen it yet. People keep talking about it, which is a laser cut proposition. We'll see if that ever happens. And then Evolution Vinyl. Do you want to take this one?
Sure, yeah. So Evolution Music was a company that Karen introduced me to, and having spoken to them and really liking what they were about, we then introduced them to Music Declares Emergency, and they've been part of our Turn Up the Volume Week. So we've been doing that every year around Earth Day, trying to just bring the industry together and talk out. So what Evolution Music are working on is a bioplastic. So it's called PLA rather than PVC, and it's got about a fifth of the carbon emissions of PVC. It's non-toxic, it's industrially compostable, and it's completely recyclable. What they're doing at the moment is kind of stress testing it and making sure that it's obviously as strong as PVC and that the sound quality is as good. And they're really getting there. It's getting very, very close. They've been testing at Abbey Road, getting the sound quality. They've had some funding. They've had some R&D funding from the government, and they're crowdfunding at the moment. And they're hoping to launch at the end of August. And I think it'd be an absolute game changer. I know Weed Switch, at the drop of a hat, if they could do this, it's got to be the same quality though, because at the end of the day, like with a lot of eco things, I've bought things that I bought them because they're sustainable and they've been crap, and I thought actually this is worse because I've got to go and buy another one that does work, and you don't want that. So it's got to be good. It's got to be as good. It's got to be as long lasting, and the sound quality's got to be perfect. But I really think they're getting there, and I think there's a lot of will behind the industry. And then something where, as Jude says, a climate pact could come in, because if this works and the majors get behind it, because at the end of the day, no real change is going to happen until the majors get behind anything, whether it's transport or it's formatting or it's anything. If they can get behind it, suddenly that 13,000 tonnes that we're making annually of PVC becomes PLA, and you've dropped your carbon emissions by, 4/5, and that's pretty amazing. So, we'll see.
Yep, and just with the future, it's that for me, just answer that. Do you want to say something about that, or?
Well, I was gonna sort of say about how important the majors were, because we were on a group, and Amaray were talking about making a much more sustainable Amaray box that could be used for both DVDs and CDs. And I thought it looked great, and for me it was a complete no-brainer. It's like, well, obviously use something that's better. And it was a lot smaller, so it was CD size rather than DVD size. What's happened to that? I have a feeling the majors didn't get behind it.
Yeah, and the thing is, it was a major-led project, and so there is work being done, and I think that for any more sustainable packaging option to really take off, you need more of the business getting behind it, so the cost is less as well, rather than a sort of a novelty material. And I think that what I would say about the future is that, for me, I don't know the granular detail of the materials to use and the processes, but what I know is that for us to empower labels and art, and then in turn artists to talk about the issues they care about, we need to be getting our own house in order, and so that's what I think the pact is about. and the fact that there's been lots of bad press with the recorded music industry around streaming, diversity, Black Lives Matter. And so actually this was a moment where we saw it that we needed to get, this one moment in time when COP was happening to get the global music industry to commit to something. So I think that, as long as we keep pushing, and we've got Nigel and working together, and Key as well. But really, it's about sharing knowledge and sharing information. And so I think the future's good.
So, moving away from the actual sort of physical manufacturing, what about as an individual, as a company, as an artist? What little changes can we make that are going to help?
I think the most important change anybody or any company can make is looking at your finance. So I've been doing quite a bit of work with Music Declares on finance and how you can change that. And I changed our bank account to Triodos because I looked at the bank we were using and they were the second largest funder of the fossil fuel infrastructure.
I use Triodos as well. And
Yeah.
they don't invest in war zones and
well, they don't have any money
bad
in any
things like
fossil
that.
fuels at all.
So,
They're
yeah.
amazing. So we changed that, and then I also looked into pensions, and I've been working closely with Make My Money Matter, which is a really amazing organisation that Richard Curtis set up, which is basically trying to harness I think it's 1.3 trillion pounds worth of pension money in this country to go towards things that are ethically sound. So the thing is, and I think it's particularly acute in the music industry, people don't like to talk about money. It's not cool for an artist particularly to talk about money, but actually money is the key to everything. It's like you direct money in the right place, and that's where you've got power. So as soon as the banks know that you're on their tail and that you really aren't happy that the bank you're using is funding the fossil fuel infrastructure, they will make change, but it needs enough people to talk up. So what we did was changed our bank, and I wrote to the head of sustainability at HSBC, and I said, these are the reasons that I'm changing, and this is what I think. And then they responded and gave me a lot of greenwash, and I pointed out 2 or 3 different things that they were doing right now that was still helping fund, new fossil fuel, new coal plants, all of this kind of stuff. So it's like challenge, even on a small scale, do as a personal initiative, challenge the bank and finance. Where are your savings? Where's your pension? Where's your current account? Tell your family and your friends to do the same thing.
I talked to Coots the other day.
They're a B
they're
Corp
B
now.
Corp. They're
Yeah,
B
I
Corp.
know.
I was going to tell you. They're going to talk about what they're doing to the Climate Action Group. But yeah, they're B Corp. And
Yeah, well, interestingly, I did sneak into their cocktail party before this and had a chat with the bank manager there. And he was saying that it's made them completely rethink everything that they're doing, to the point that any new clients that come on board, even if they've got the money, that they're considering whether to take them on or not as a client, which is phenomenal when you think of a bank like Coots.
And the previous panel, I was on a Music Declares emergency panel about how can we help artists talk about climate. And a woman, I forgot her name, but she runs a PR company, Artists Way. Sigrid is one of her clients, and she said to me that when she starts working with an artist, she says these are the values, and these are, that's a sort of a process for her. So I thought that was really interesting. And then Coots are doing the same.
Yeah, we've done a similar thing, and I've been trying to encourage other labels to do it as well, is just add a little clause. It's kind of non-binding, but add a little clause in any agreement you do with an artist that just said, we will mutually take into account the climate and ecological emergency in anything we do. So, it's not binding. You're not saying you have to. It's not a deal breaker. But all you're saying is, from the moment we start working together, we've put that in there. And so when something comes up, you can point back to it and say, well, we did discuss this. And it gets it out there. I think the more that people talk to their families, colleagues about these issues, the less kind of embarrassing it becomes, or the more chance you've got of actually making change.
What about festivals and gigs? Have you seen much work being done there?
Yeah, there's some amazing work. I know I've got a friend of mine. Do you remember Adrian Boss? He used to manage Carter.
Yeah.
So he's the head of sustainability now at Falmouth University, and they're running a whole degree course in sustainable festivals. There's a Greener Festival. There's a whole live group now, which is bringing together different elements of the live industry to look at their footprint. So I think there's some amazing things happening within the live industry.
And Juna Beats, or involved productions that manage Above and Beyond and Juna Beats label, and they're doing a project with MIT looking at data-driven, because you need data as well. Data-driven project looking at the live sector and how much the footprint of fans going to shows, and there is work being done.
Yeah, and I've also heard of the Greener Rider as well, with people.
That's it. Yeah. So Julie's Bicycle, which is an amazing organisation that helped Music Declares Emergency get up on our feet when we started. They were behind the Green Rider, which is kind of looking at every aspect, and so giving the idea of making sure there's no single-use plastics in venues and similar aspects.
So before you go, obviously I have to plug Key Production. If anyone wants us to come and do a production workshop or talk to you more about sustainability and sustainably packaging your products, scan the barcode that I'm going to put up next. Sign up to our newsletter, drop us an email, or there's quite a lot of us knocking around here today. Come and talk to us. One more click. Ta-da! And thank you all for coming.
Thank you.